Work, Consume, Die by Frankie Boyle. Read by Angus King. His stomach turns a somersault with the drop of the elevator. He steps out into the crowded marble hall. For a moment, not knowing which way to go, he stands back against the wall with his hands in his pockets, watching people elbow their way through the perpetually revolving doors. Soft-cheeked girls chewing gum, hatchet-faced girls with bangs, cream-faced boys his own age, young toughs with their hats on one side, sweaty-faced messengers, criss-cross glances, sauntering hips, red jowls masticating cigars, sallow concave faces, fat bodies of young men and women, paunched bodies of elderly men, all elbowing, shoving, shuffling, fed in two endless tapes through the revolving doors out into Broadway, in off Broadway. Jimmy fed in a tape in and out the revolving doors, noon and night and morning, the revolving doors grinding out his ears like sausage meat. All of a sudden, his muscles stiffen. Uncle Jeff and his office can go plumb to hell. The words are so loud inside him, he glances to one side and the other to see if anyone heard him say them. They can all go plumb to hell. John Dos Passos, Manhattan Transfer. If rape, poison, dagger, and arson have not as yet adorned with their pleasing artistry the banal canvas of our piteous destinies, it is, alas, because our soul lacks boldness. Baudelaire. Introduction. I sincerely hope you will be disappointed by this book. To disappoint, anger, and dismay has always been my ideal. Of course, I've made the book a fairly commercial collection of light-hearted topical comments. This is so I can dismay you further by pocketing a huge advance and spending the rest of my life surfing, reading crime thrillers, and fucking. If I had it my way, this book would be an impeccably researched novel about the friendship between Tom, a young white boy, and Jefferson, an old black gardener, set in turn-of-the-century Mississippi. It would possess an air of complete authenticity. The old gardener would have an encyclopedic knowledge of herbs and their uses, but he would be an illiterate and solitary curmudgeon. He would heal the boy's broken arm with a poultice, and later save his little brother from dying of a fever. Young Tom would convince Mr. Bridges, his schoolmaster, of the gardener's gifts, and together the three of them would start to write a herbal encyclopedia. The three protagonists would come from very different worlds, so there would be a lot of conflict, but also a lot of wry humour and wisdom. After the first 50 pages, the reader would wonder what kind of follow-up this was to the jokey autobiography of a panel show contestant. After 100 pages, they would be completely drawn to the world of Tom, Jefferson, and Mr. Bridges. After 150 pages, they would be nervously wondering whether Tom's stepmother could really have been so spiteful as to burn the manuscript. For the final 50 pages, I would have a description of old Jefferson surprising Tom in a hay barn, and the two of them having brutal, unprotected, consensual sex. As he fucked the boy, he would scream about how he didn't give a shit about plants. Perhaps in modern words, because he was a time traveller or something. His cock would grow to a fantastical size within the boy, and glow and hum like a lightsaber. The boy's arsehole would start to talk. I clench and unclench, just like a vagina, it would note cheerfully in poor French. Perspective would shift jarringly to a microscopic civilization that lived in the hay under Tom's face. They would be a poetic, romantic people for whom time moved incalculably slowly. Tom's face would have hung in their sky like the sun for millennia before old man Jefferson started fucking him. Its gradual change to a rictus of pain would excite and disturb the minds of their greatest philosophers. Eventually, the glowing tip of a huge black cock emerging from his mouth would cause the whole society to commit mass suicide. Ideally, the title of the book would be an endless binary number, and it would scream when you opened it, and then a brawny fist would shoot out from between the pages and rip the nose right off your face. As you fell to the ground squealing, the hand would...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?